Welcome to The Jewish Lens, a podcast to discuss anything and everything from a Jewish perspective. Now, please help me welcome the man who controls the media, your host, Jonathan Rosen.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of The Jewish Lens. Today, I am thrilled to welcome someone who has a fascinating story. She's the author of Circumference of Silence, and she is also, most importantly, a fellow Floridian. Please help me welcome Jacquie Herz. Jacquie, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I always like to start by going back. So let's go back with you. So you were born in London.
Yes.
And your parents managed to flee Hitler's Europe before the Holocaust, I was reading. So where did they come from? And tell me a little about their story.
Okay. My mother was 12 in 1939, and she and her parents got out in August of 39 to London, which was pretty last minute.
Where they come from? Where were they from?
They're from Berlin.
Berlin.
Whoops. Okay, I'm sorry. There were. I'm sorry. Yes, they came from Berlin, and they got out just in time. My father came with his brother and his parents. He was originally from Krakow, but they moved when he was 11 years old to Antwerp in Belgium. And they left Antwerp in 1940. Apparently, my grandmother said, "Okay, let's go," and the Nazis were right behind them, in France. So they managed to get to the coast, actually to Dunkirk, at the Battle of Dunkirk when it was raging.
Wow.
And they managed to get a boat to take them across the Channel and to England, and then from there to London.
So they saw everything. 39 already in Berlin. They saw everything that happened. Your mom is your family, so they saw everything.
Yeah.
Did they talk to you about everything much?
When I was living in London, I came here when I was 16. My parents got divorced when I was 8, and my mother.
I ask about that, yeah.
Yeah, my mother came here then because my mother was a very, very beautiful woman, and she was only 27 at the time, and my grandmother got very nervous about her sort of being alone in London, so she said she's got to come to New York.
Mm-hmm.
So she came to New York, and my sister and I stayed in London with my father. We had no choice.
I'm just curious first, before we go into that, I'm going to ask about that. I was curious, did they discuss much with you about what they saw, like in Antwerp and Berlin, prior to them moving?
Well, when I came to in London, they didn't talk at all about it, because I think that a lot of my grandfather and grandmother's family were probably killed in Auschwitz. Is my guess, because they were still in Poland. So that side of the family really did not talk at all very much about any of it.
Your father's side.
My father's side, right? So anyway, so they would talk a lot during when we'd get together for dinners, and they would talk a lot about their childhoods and their what happened. When they left Europe, and when they were in Europe, there were some stories, but not even actually that much. Coming to think about it, it was mostly their lives here and how they managed here.
Did they discuss at all how they were treated once they got to London?
As far as I know, they were treated pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
They were treated pretty well.
I'm curious now, like, what was life for your family? What was your family life like? Because in particular with regard to Judaism, because I'm just curious if you were observant at all back then, because I know many people from that era who had left Hitler's Europe, who turned away from religion because of the events that happened. So just curious how it was with you.
My father's parents were always very religious, but we were not. Not really. We were observant in that we were, every holiday we like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and Hanukkah was not a big deal in those days. That was it. I was just going to synagogue for the main high holidays, and that was really it. And obviously Passover we had, but and we would meet at my grandparents every Saturday, but for lunch or for tea, kind of thing. But that was really it. I mean, it wasn't, and they really didn't talk they talk Yiddish amongst themselves, so we didn't really understand as kids, and so we really didn't know what had really gone on.
So they didn't discuss the events that happened back where they came from at all?
No. No.
Did you inquire things? I'm just curious how you were as a child with that.
No, not really, because my main concern was that my mother was no longer there.
Right.
And my father they both got remarried, my mother here in the States and my father in London. And so, no, and then I went off to boarding school. I was sent off to boarding school. I was asking
about that too. Yeah, I saw that. That's incredible. So your parents divorced, like you said. You were just a child. I mean, you said 8 years old, and she moved to America. So how difficult was that for you at the time? Because I'm curious how that impacted you, because your family was going through a divorce at a time when that wasn't common. And also being, Jewish, fleeing, refugees kind of a little bit in a way, fleeing to a new country. So how did that impact you and your family life that back then when you were still so young?
Well, yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, I had a very hard time with it. At the time, we didn't call each other. We had to write letters to each other. So that's how I think I got into writing in the first place, because every week I had to write to my mother. And so, from the age of 8 on. So, 8. And I came here when I was 16, finally. Right. So
yeah, I saw that you had lots of
but you just...
Go ahead, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so you just... Yeah, no, I was going to say, you just go on with your life, I guess. I mean, it's me thinking back on it now that I think, oh my God, that really, affected you. That must have been really difficult. It was difficult. It was difficult.
So this is right. You said letters. I mean, this is way back before really the people's phones were common in every household, or, well prior to emails, of course. So you wrote lots of letters. So how difficult was that? I mean, how long did it take to get responses from when you wrote back and forth to your mom?
A few days or a week. Right.
But that was not too bad. Okay.
No, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was, it wasn't too bad.
Was there any talk of you going earlier to go with her to New York, or no?
No. Well, she would come to London once a year to see us. Mm-hmm. And so every time whenever she left to go back to New York, I would sit with my father with tears. I want to go with her, but he said no. And so.
How did your father feel with that when you kept saying that you wanted to go?
I can't imagine that he felt very good about it. I can't imagine. And for whatever reason, maybe he decided that he was the better person to take care of us. I don't know. I just don't know.
And, all right, so you said
all these questions keep coming up to me now. All these years and years later. So,
well, you said the letter writing helped your love of writing. So how did that begin? That you'd like to write in general.
I guess. I mean, it was very much part of my life, I guess. And I just love to write. I'm sorry.
Did you write for pleasure as well back then, instead of just
I think I did, because my sister told me that I used to write detective stories when I was, young, but very different from what I write now.
So do you remember what the first thing you wrote was? Just for fiction or fun as a kid, or no?
No, not really.
All right, really. So you went to boarding school. I mean, this is something that's very British in my mind that people do, and it's always like the imagine. I read about boarding school stories as a kid, and then of course all the Harry Potter stuff. That's the same type of thing. So what was that experience like?
Actually, it was great. I'm happy that I did it. That I went there. The school is great. The school no longer exists, unfortunately. It was a good school, and here I was at 13, not living with either one of my parents. So I didn't have this feeling of, I'm living with one, not the other. So for me, that was great. And I grew up. It was.
What was
I
the
liked it.
experience? I mean, what kind was like the daily routine like in boarding school? What did you have to do there? I mean, like just regular, what was curriculum and everything?
Right. Well, there was, classes obviously, and then we had, games of hockey and basketball, I guess, and we had dancers. It was all girls, but we still had dancers every so often. I think every week or something. And I don't know. We had to take long walks. My boarding school was on the coast it was in Eastbourne, which is very close to Brighton. So it's on the coast, on the English Channel coast. And there were the cliffs, like the cliffs of Dover. We had the cliffs as well. And so we'd take long walks along there. And then we were all together, we were young girls.
And I imagine that it had to be somewhat, I guess, cathartic in a way, because it was like an escape from everything that you were dealing with back home.
Right. And I'm sure that there were others. I mean, I don't remember exactly how everybody got there, but in England, it wasn't, as you said, it was not uncommon for kids to go to boarding school. It was, it was quite common for them to go. So not everybody had reasons to be in boarding school or to be away from home, other than that their parents thought that the education was better away from home than at home. When you grow up, you grow up pretty quickly when you're on your own like that. And you have to sort out your own problems for yourself, with other girls, with teachers,
Right.
So, it was a good experience.
Did you do any writing there? Did you, was that come into your life yet?
I don't remember. I know once I came here, and I was at school here, I started writing poetry. And I don't remember if I wrote when I was in boarding school, if I wrote back then. I might have, but not seriously.
So what fun? So you said you moved to New York at 16. That you moved to be with your mother then, right? Is that what?
Yes.
So what had you tried before that? What prompted you to go when you did?
What prompted me to go?
At that point, I mean, had you tried? You said you tried before then, right? You did want to go before then. So what finally said, okay, this is I'm going now. I'm leaving. I'm going to go to New York now.
Well, when I was 12 years old, I was my youngest my half sister was born about half a year before that. And she was staying in London. Meanwhile, we all went, the rest of us, my father, my stepmother, my sister, and I went to the south of France on vacation. And I was unhappy. And I wrote a letter to my mother, which I left in an envelope, an open envelope, which my father discovered and got very upset with me. And he said, okay, you can either go to boarding school, you can either go to America, to New York now, or you can go to boarding school now and go to America later. And I chose boarding school first and then America. And that's how that worked.
And your father stayed behind in London?
Yeah. He had his home in London. My sister and my half sister and his wife. Yeah.
That's been really difficult for you too at that time. Wow. So, and then, all right, so you come to this country, and that's when you started. When did you start taking writing? So, I saw you took creative writing in college. So, when did you start taking writing serious? Is that the first time that you really thought, hey, this is what I want to do?
I don't think so, really. I mean, I think I was writing, bits and pieces of poetry and bits and
Your
pieces of
camera went
this.
out again, by the way.
Oh no,
So,
that's so weird. There we go.
there
That's
we go.
so.
Okay.
Oh, well, maybe I'm okay. um, yeah. So anyway, I just and then of course when I came here, then I was writing letters to my father. So the letter writing never stopped all the way through. But once in a while we got to talk on the phone, and we saw each other every year or so. But
Right.
um, I know that when I came here and I was in high school, I was writing poetry, and then I guess when I went to college, I don't remember doing anything particularly. I think I was into theater. I really wanted to be in theater at the time, actually, to be an actress.
You took courses for that as well?
Yeah, and I was in a group in New York, and an actor studio kind of thing that was teaching young women, young girls
Mm.
to act, and that was fun. And I think when I went back to school, went back to college, and I think I was like 33 or something like that.
Okay.
When I went back to college, and the first course I took was a creative writing course, and from then on I was really writing. So
So when did the path become serious and say this is what I want to do? I'm going to try this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write a book. And how long did it take you? I mean, what was your path like?
it took me for the first book took me a very, very, very long time. I mean, first of all,
You didn't start in college writing your first book. This came way after, right?
this came. Yes, it came after. No, I was part of it. I was part of it. Part of it I had started writing, I guess, while I was in college.
Hmm.
And then I was in a writers' conference, and I had started writing what I thought was going to be a book about all of this, about my mother's story. And Laurie Siegel, you know who she is, right? She was she died, I think, just this year
Okay.
or last year. Anyway, she's a writer. She was on a kinder transport from Vienna, and anyway, she kind of looked at what I had written, and she said, you can't write this. This isn't your story to tell." So I thought, uh-oh,
Mm.
it's not my story to tell. So I had to figure out, that was number one. I had to figure out how to tell that story so that it was my story to tell as well, because it was my story to tell as well. And then of course I had children. I was in business with my husband, and so
That's
life
what
gets in the way, right? So it took me a long, long time to write that book.
so you put the book, you started the book, you put it off, and then you started going into business, which I thought was fascinating too. So you had to travel a lot to Southeast
Right,
Asia, right?
right. Yep,
So
which was great.
what did
Yeah,
you do? I'm just curious what your family did that you had to go travel.
oh, well, my husband and I have had a promotional products business. We
Mhm.
actually started three different companies, all within the same industry. And so the last one, when we did a lot of traveling, was we had created a manufacturing firm where we imported items from China, and then imprinted it with the company's names or whatever message they want to put on. Like you get freebies from
Right.
different companies with their name on it. That's what we did, and now that company belongs to my daughter and son-in-law, and
Mm.
we're doing a great job of it. And but yeah, so that's what we did. So having your own company, that it's not like working from 9 to 5 and you just walk out the door. There's always something to do and to think
All right,
about
so
and
go back.
worry about.
So go back. So you start right. So you had your own company. What steps did you go through? How did the first book finally come about? You landed an agent. You did it yourself. How did that first book come about?
I didn't land an agent. There was an agent who was interested in it, in fact, and I had sent it out at the end. I'd sent it out to three different places to
Mm-hmm.
do two independent publishing companies and to this agent, and they all wanted the full manuscript, which I did send them. And anyway, Black Rose Writing, who finally published it, they got back to me first, and I wrote back to the others to tell them, and the agent said, go ahead and stick with the publisher because you have an offer. So that's what I did, and it's been good. And my second book is with them too.
So tell me about the second book, the Circumference of Silence. So
that's the first.
That's the
second one.
First. Oh, okay.
Right. Okay. The second one is called Hannah Bloom, Dream Juggler, and it's basically about being in your own business. And it's about a woman who here. This is the picture, the cover.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about a woman, Hannah Bloom, who is just about to turn 40. She has two young daughters who are at sleepaway camp at the moment and are hating it and sending home terrible, unhappy letters every day. And she is working with her husband in the business, and she works with him, and they are they have taken over another company and are being sued by the owner of this other company. And so they have all of this stuff going on. In the meanwhile, all she really wants to do, and she's pregnant, unexpectedly pregnant for the third time. And so all she really wants to do is go home, take care of her children, and write her poetry. And so there's all of these things that sort of interrupt. But that's what life is all about, right?
This doesn't sound autobiographical at all.
No, not at all.
So tell me about Circumference of Silence.
Circumference of Silence is a story it's basically my mother's story, and it's split between it's split. It goes from chapter one is the chapter by the daughter, and then it goes to the mother. The daughter. After the mother dies, the daughter goes to her mother's apartment to start clearing it out and discovers a bunch of letters her mother had written to her but never mailed. And all those letters describe her life and also her that she's sorry about what had happened in the all of the things that have happened in their lives. And so it goes back and forth between the mother's story and the daughter's story.
Now, did your parents tell you their stories at any point in your life, and did they go into detail more? You said that not so much when you were a kid, but did they go as you got older?
Yeah, my mother for sure. My father, well, I didn't, to some degree, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. My father.
So
they were much more, and I think because they lost a lot of the family, I think,
right.
and I think had something to do with it.
Did you ever find out anything about him afterwards, or no?
Not really. And I'm trying to figure out how I could do that, because I would really like to at this point figure out more about it.
So your mother shared her stories with you later on, though?
Yes.
Did it come to the point that she knew that you were writing this?
Yes, she read one of the first. I mean, she was still living when I wrote the book, but the book came out after she had died. But she read one of the first, like an original beginning manuscript. Did
she have any input in it with you as well?
No, not really. I mean, no, not really. I don't remember that she did. I mean, she told me different stories, and she wrote down a few notes for me, and that was about it, really.
Mm-hmm. No, it's good that she got to see, I mean, her story out there, at least beforehand.
Right.
All right, so here's a big question. So what are you working on now? What are you working on next?
Well, that's a big question. I'm hoping to. I feel like I'm sort of I've got very nervous about this book, the latest book, the Hannah Bloom book, just
It
was
just came out,
released.
right? Is that
Yeah,
recent?
last Thursday. So I've been nervous about that, and
How'd the
so
launch go?
the lunch.
You launched, didn't you just have
Oh,
like
the
a
launch. I'm sorry.
yes.
The launch. Yeah, it went. I guess it went fine. I mean, it's weird because there were, there are a few of us from Black Rose Writing who get together once a month to, to discuss somebody's book. So we read somebody's book and then we talk about it. And so my book was the one they had talked about at the end of November. And so I was very, very anxious about it because it's kind of, it's a little bit different than some other books you might find out there. And anyway, the reviews were fantastic. They were great. And they posted everything on Goodreads. And then I have only, I think, 2 or 3 posts on Amazon. I was hoping to get them all to transfer to Amazon, but they didn't do it. But in any case, so yeah, I mean, it's, you don't know until it's been out there for a while, right?
And so you're by me now, right? You're here in Fort Lauderdale area?
Yeah. I'm having a reading actually on Sunday at the Friendships Art Gallery, which is next to the Las Olas Chabad Center. I don't know if you know where that is.
I do know Aloysius, but yeah.
Okay. So anyway, on Sunday afternoon, so I'm having a reading.
Very nice. So, okay, so go back. I cut you off. I'm sorry. So what are you working on next?
What I'm working on, well, I'm not really sure. I've got a few things in mind and I'm not really sure. As part of me thinks that maybe I just do some short stories, maybe do some poetry, maybe do another book. I'm just not sure. I have to sort of sit down and sort of get my mind put together, so to speak.
Okay, and here's the important question. How can people follow you on social media?
They can follow me. Social media is JacquieHerz.com on everything, really and truly. www.JacquieHerz.com is my I think you can follow me and my email is Jacquie@JacquieHerz.com.
And you're on Facebook and Twitter as well?
Facebook and Twitter, and yes, and everything. And I think you just put my name in and it'll come up.
Fantastic. Jacquie, I wish you luck with the book. I thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure getting to speak to you and meeting you finally after we exchanged so many emails back and forth.
Right.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Let me sign us off. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Again, this has been The Jewish Lens. I'm Jonathan Rosen. And again, a very special thanks to Jacquie Herz. And please like, comment, and subscribe.
Thanks for tuning in to The Jewish Lens, where all items used was strictly kosher.